everyone? Welcome to the channel. Today we are doing a UFC and NBA player comparisons. I made a video kind of similar like this a couple years ago, back when I did not have a following and it was not as good as this, so I figured I'd make a new updated one and make it much better. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Number one is Ilia Topuria and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I was really struggling to find a counterpart for Ilya and then a counterpart for Shai. Then I realized that they're both kind of like the same person. They both have this, I don't like using this word. I think this is a very cringe word, but they both have this aura about them. They're very effortlessly dominant. They just let their game speak for itself. They let their game do the talking. You can't really stop them from getting what they want to do. You can't really negate either of these guys. You can't stop Shai from getting to the free throw line. You can't stop Ilia Topuria from knocking you the fuck out. And like I said, both of these guys have bravado. They kind of have this swag to them. They have this character about them. I think this is a pretty good, like almost one-to-one comparison, if we're really being honest. They don't really, well, Ilia Topuria shit talks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't really shit talk. He's like one of the humble dudes. So it's not a perfect, exact one-to-one comparison, but it's about as close as you can get. Both guys have also become a champion in their respective sport, so I think that makes even more sense. Next is Islam Makhachev, and specifically Toronto Raptors Kawhi Leonard. We're not talking about LA Clippers Kawhi, or, I mean, we can maybe even consider San Antonio Kawhi, but Toronto Raptors Kawhi, 2019 Kawhi was the best player in the world. I don't care what any of you say. Watching that playoff run in 2019 just showed that he was the best fucking player in the world. Islam Makhachev, similarly, is the best fighter in the world. Both of these guys are not flashy in any way. Not anything about them is so flashy, and it's not going to make your eyes jump out of your head like, oh my gosh, how did he do what he just did? No, it's just so effortless. It's so clean. It's so basic, but it's so fundamental and it's so dominant. Islam Makhachev, of course, he's not doing spinning wheel kicks. He's not doing crazy shit. Kawhi Leonard is not dribbling like Kyrie. He's not shooting like Steph. He's just extremely efficient in what he does. Killer mid-range game. He's a phenomenal defender. This, I think, is a one-to-one comparison. I was really struggling to find comparisons for Islam because I just don't know who it could really be. I don't think there's many guys in the NBA who are just hyper efficient, but also hyper dominant. The big difference, of course, between these guys is the personality. Islam Makhachev is a shit talker. Kawhi Leonard is not. He's a very introverted guy, doesn't let his personality flow. But still, this is basically a one. No, if we're just talking about player skill and fighter skill, this is a one-to-one comparison. I tried to implement personality into this as well, but this one you're just going to have to disregard. But still, they both are kind of quiet guys. Like Islam Makhachev is not like a Connor where he's just super out there, and he's not like a Sean Strickland. Like, yeah, he'll talk his shit sometimes. He'll be a little funny, but he's not that much out there. Honestly, I may have even picked Khabib for this. Khabib would be a good pick, but I think Islam is a better choice here. Sean O'Malley and LaMelo Ball. I think these two are perfect comparisons because I think secretly both of these guys care more about their image than actually playing their sport. Of course, they're both passionate about what they do, but I think if you put forth the proposition to LaMelo Ball or Sean O'Malley to where they could be reality stars or social media superstars and they don't have to do what they do, I'm not saying they would pick it 10 times out of 10, but you can just tell that they are hyper obsessed with their image and they're both flashy people. They got the supercars. They're tattooed the fuck up. Their personalities are very out there. I think this is really good, and both of them are very good, not fighters. Both of them are very good players as well. LaMelo Ball, probably not now, but a couple years ago, LaMelo Ball was like a top 7 point guard. Now he's much worse. He's had a terrible season. I shouldn't even say terrible, but for his standards, extremely inefficient season. Ton of turnovers. Now Charlotte is turning it around and they're winning games now, which is pretty crazy because they started out the season fucking terrible. Concaniple's on. Mark Williams is on. Mikal Bridges is on. Musa Diabate, my guy from Michigan, is on. Did I say Mikal Bridges? I meant Miles Bridges. My bad. LaMelo Ball, he's kind of picked it up a little bit, but still a very hyper inefficient season. And I guess you could kind of compare that to Sean O'Malley's losing streak. I don't know, dude. I thought this was more about the flashiness in how they perform and the flashiness in their play style as well. Because not only is just their personality like that, LaMelo Ball is a very flashy player. Sean O'Malley is a very flashy fighter. He's light on his feet. He's throwing spinning kicks. He's just got beautiful fucking stride. I think this is good. This is a good setup right here. This is a good comparison. Tom Aspinall, Joel Embiid. This is fucking perfect, okay? I was in my fucking bag when I thought of this one. This is completely perfect. Both guys are extremely well-rounded. Joel Embiid, he's a great defender. He can shoot the mid-range. He can shoot a fucking lot of free throws. He's a solid playmaker. Tom Aspinall, he's a good boxer. He's a phenomenal jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's got good wrestling. They're both very quick, kind of. But also, injuries have fucked their careers. They're both foreign big men, and injuries have fucked their careers big time. Joel Embiid missed the first 2 years of his career because he got his foot injured. He has had knee injuries. He's had back injuries. He's had every kind of injury you can think of. Tom Aspinall missed a year because of a torn ACL. He just is going to be out now for the eye pokes. He's been known to be pretty injury prone. This is a straight 1-2-1 comparison. Both guys also have been the best in their sport. Joel Embiid was an MVP. Tom Aspinall is the champion now. So I think this is perfect right here. Next is who? John Jones, Michael Jordan. Again, this is a perfect 1-to-1 comparison. Both guys have never lost. Both guys are the best at what they do, the best of their sport. Both guys have had scandals surrounding them. Michael Jordan's were quite different than John Jones because John Jones has had PEDs and arrests. Michael Jordan has had some gambling problems, which maybe led to something happening. I'm not going to say it. Everything is alleged here. Everything is alleged, by the way. Just making it. This is all jokes. This is all alleged. But both guys are also known to not be really good people. Both guys are kind of just known to be self-centered, kind of dickheads. Very, honestly, I was gonna compare their work ethic, but actually that's not a good comparison at all because John Jones is not known to have a great work ethic, and Michael Jordan is known to have probably one of the greatest in sports history. Hyper competitive, though, you can put that there, but more so just their unblemished resumes, best of the sport, scandals surrounding them. So I think that's great right there. Next is who? Cody Garbrandt, Ben Simmons. I put a post on my story because I was really trying to think of a comparison for Ben Simmons, and I was thinking Cody Garbrandt, but I was like, is it Cody Garbrandt? And I put a poll on my story. Only one guy said Cody Garbrandt, so shout out to him. Everybody else, like I saw people saying Patchy Mix. I saw people say Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think that's extremely disrespectful to Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think Cody Garbrandt is a perfect comparison to Ben Simmons because, number one, both guys have suffered a lot of injuries. Cody Garbrandt has had a ton of injuries. He hasn't been super vocal about it, but he's been on Joe Rogan. When he was talking about it, he had suffered from a ton of vertigo. He's just had like a ton of like little injuries that just sidelined him for so long and led him to pull out of fights. He pulled out of the Miles Johns fight for an injury. There was another fight. I think the UFC 285 fight. I think he was supposed to fight sooner than that, but he had to pull out. But both guys were plagued by injuries. Both guys are absolute mental head cases. They can't get out of their own head. Both guys were once at the very top, and then they just very quickly regressed to being at the bottom of their sport. I don't know how it happened. Ben Simmons, he missed a year because of kind of a back injury, but also there was some contract disputes and there was some personnel disputes. It's a really weird situation with Ben Simmons. But the year before his last year in Philly, he was just never the same because even his last year in Philly, he wasn't really fitting in with the team. You could see his confidence was getting destroyed. He was not the same All-NBA, All-Defense player that he once was. He was passing up open shots in the playoffs against Atlanta. You can just tell he was so far in his head and he couldn't get out of it. And he's been outspoken about his mental health struggles. But I mean, after he left Philly, he went to Brooklyn, didn't do a thing in Brooklyn, missed a year. Then he came back and he averaged like 6, 6, and 6. Then I think he did one more year there. Then he went to LA, did nothing. Actually played kind of okay in the maybe 15 or 20 game sample size that he played in, but he played for like half the year. Now he's just not even in the NBA. I don't even know what his goals are for his career. I don't even know if he's going to return. I have no fucking clue. Ben Simmons has just made a fucking lot of money to play very subpar basketball. Both guys, I think, could be considered a big what if because Cody Garbrandt had he not been a mental basket case, not let TJ Dillashaw and Dominic Cruz get into his head. Who knows what we would have seen from this guy? And Ben Simmons, if he could have gotten out of his own head, who knows what he could have been? You know, there was once comparisons between Ben Simmons and LeBron James, and those could not have aged even worse. So this one is pretty. I hold near and dear to me because I'm a big Cody Garbrandt fan. I always have been. And I always liked Ben Simmons because I loved his play style, but then he just became a fucking weirdo. And maybe some of it is his fault, maybe some of it isn't, but we'll get to that later. I kind of had a struggle. I kind of had a hard time picking who Shavkat Rakhmonov was because I was thinking it was Derrick Rose because I actually made a video saying that Shavkat Rakhmonov is the Derrick Rose of the UFC. And I can see it because both guys were very good fighters. They both were near the top of their sport. Derrick Rose did win an MVP. Shavkat never was a champion. I don't think he would have become a champion. But they were both very good, but injuries just plagued their career. I think Anthony Davis actually fits more with him because Anthony Davis has been an NBA champion. He's always been in the MVP talks. He was never going to be the guy that wins it, but he would always be number 3 in MVP voting when he's averaging 27 and 12 with 2.5 blocks a game. And again, both guys have just been at the very, very peak of their career, but they just get injured all of the fucking time and they can't seem to get out of their own way with the injuries. Anthony Davis, if without injuries, Anthony Davis is a top 10 player in the league. I may even go top 7. The year that they won the championship in LA, that was probably Anthony Davis's best year. You could maybe make the argument that no, it was his years in New Orleans. Before DeMarcus Cousins got there, he was averaging 27 and 14, and he was always third in MVP talks. But in LA, that's when he really developed the jump shot, and he really developed just his overall game in terms of winning basketball. And he was always been in Defensive Player of the Year talks, always been in MVP talks. But he just got injured all the fucking time. It's his knee, it's his hamstring, it's his hip, it's his eye. It's his shoulder. I think he tore his labrum once. I don't think he's ever had any knee injuries. I think he's had like a foot injury. He's had every injury you can think of. I mean, he broke his finger now, and now he's not playing for a super long time. I don't even know what his current injuries are. So I think Anthony Davis is a better comparison for Shavkat Rakhmonov. Carlos Prates and Ian Edwards, wow. Carlos Prates and Anthony Edwards. I think this makes a lot of sense because both guys are absolute fan favorites. Both guys. Again, I'm going to say this word. I don't like using this word. Both guys have the aura that the young fans will say. Both guys have the aura. They have the swag about them. They're very flashy with how they play and how they perform. They have good showmanship. They are very elite. Anthony Edwards is probably a top 8 player in the league. Carlos Prates is like the second best welterweight in the world, maybe the third best. I would say he's a top 25 UFC fighter. Yeah, I was struggling trying to find one for Anthony Edwards. Like, I was thinking it could be Ilya Taporia, but I don't know. I think Carlos Prates just makes more sense because both guys, like I said, they have very out there and exuberant personalities. They talk a lot of shit. They're both really fun to watch. They're both really flashy in and outside of the cage / court. So I think this is a pretty good comparison here. Who is next? Is that it? Petr Yan, Tyrese Halliburton. I was thinking of doing Petr Yan as Nikola Jokic. And honestly, I think that may fit a little bit more than Tyrese Halliburton. But, I mean, Petr Yan is a bantamweight and he's 5'7". Jokic is 6'11". I feel like making a Jokic comparison, you kind of have to be a big guy because a big part of Jokic's game and what makes him so excellent is that he's a phenomenal playmaker at the height of 6'11". So I was trying to think of like 205ers and heavyweights for him. I think Jokic fits here, but I think Tyrese Halliburton fits more. Both guys have absolutely mastered the fundamentals. They're so fun to watch. They're both very pure in the sense of their style. Petr Yan is a very pure boxer, but he's so well-rounded. Tyrese Halliburton is a pure point guard. He's not incredibly flashy, but he's very efficient. He always makes the right decision. I think this fits pretty well. I couldn't really think of another guy for Petr Yan. I was thinking maybe like a Steph Curry, but I think Steph Curry is a little bit too flashy for Petr Yan to be a comparison because Petr Yan is not really flashy. He's just very technical, very skilled. Fundamentals are tremendous. So that's why I picked Tyrese Halliburton. I think that one makes a little bit more sense. Is that it? Is that the last one? Okay, Hamzat Chimaev, Victor Wembanyama. Both guys are foreigners. Both guys are basically unstoppable. You really can't contain or stop Victor Wembanyama at the 7'5" frame. Hamzat Chimaev also, we've seen that you just can't stop him. We saw him fight Dricus du Plessis and do whatever he wanted. We've seen him fight John Phillips, Reese McKee. Well, I mean, he didn't have his way with Gilbert Burns, but he was imposing his will a lot in that fight. He imposed his will in round 2 and 3 against, or round 1 and 2 against Kamaru Usman. Kevin Holland, we've seen him fight Gerald Meerschaert, knock him out with one punch. Both guys are just so unstoppable, and there's really no effective game plan that you can do to stop them. I mean, you can throw doubles at Victor Wembanyama, but I mean, he has De'Aaron Fox, he has Stephon Castle, he's got Keldon Johnson, he has a lot of good players on that team. So I guess that makes no sense because that doesn't have anything to do with anything because Hamza Chimaev is a fighter and that's just a one-person sport. But I think this makes a good amount of sense because they are very dominant in their skill set as well. I wouldn't say they're as well-rounded, but I think Hamza Chimaev is underrated with how well-rounded he is. I think he's very good on the feet. He's got really good kicks. Of course, we know how good his wrestling is and his submissions are. Victor Wembanyama, he can shoot. He can get to the rack easily. Can dribble. He can fucking run the floor. He can play. He can pass the ball. He can make plays. So I think this is a pretty good comparison. I want to say that's it. There's one more. Oh, no, this is the last one for sure. Anderson Silva versus Bill Russell. Both guys are pioneers of their sport. They were very dominant in the infancy of each person's sport. Anderson Silva, of course, I mean, he joined the UFC in 2005, I believe it was. Bill Russell, of course, he was in the 60s. He won 11 championships in 13 years. Anderson Silva had a 16-fight win streak with, I think he has 14 title wins, if I'm remembering correctly. So, and also, while both of those stats are extremely impressive, 11 rings and 14 title defenses, you need to go into the context of what era it was. Of course, they were in a not-so-good era. This was only playing in an era with 8 NBA teams. Anderson Silva was playing in an era where fighters just fucking sucked, if we're being honest. There was very few fighters that would fly today. I don't think a Patrick Cote, a Forrest Griffin. I think there's a lot of names that I just don't think would do shit in modern UFC. Same with Bill Russell. Like, I don't think a Sam Jones, I don't think a Casey Jones, a Tom Heinsohn. Like, there's so many names I don't think would really do well well, not that I don't think, they just wouldn't do well in 2025, 2026 NBA. So I think this is a perfect comparison here. Now that is going to end the video. I want to thank you very much for watching. I really enjoyed making this video, so I want to do a couple parts. I can definitely see myself doing a part 2, part 3. So put in the comments which comparisons I missed. Put in the comparisons which ones you agree with or disagree with. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at VinceMMA1. Go to 3punchconvo.com. Use my code VinceMMA for your first free month. And thank you very much for watching.